You're about to dive into a unique journey, a deep dive into yourself, awakening a rare truth few understand. Have you ever walked into a room and felt all eyes on you without really knowing why? Ever had that weird feeling of carrying a different energy, an aura that bothers or fascinates, but no one can quite put their finger on it? That feeling, which you might have tried to hide or even deny, is the key to understanding a powerful, secret part of your existence. Before we go on, go ahead and hit that like button, share in the comments if this has ever happened to you, and subscribe to discover more about this force living inside you, invisible to the eyes, but present in every gesture and silence. Imagine this for a moment. You walk into any room. People around continue their conversations, their glances, their movements, but when your body crosses the doorway, something shifts. You don't need to say a word. Something invisible in the air seems to whisper, "Here's someone different." You feel, without quite being able to explain, as if a soft yet potent light emanates from you and enters the perception of those around you. But this light isn't always met with joy. Sometimes it disturbs, creates subtle discomfort, triggers a kind of silent tension. You notice different looks, unasked questions hanging in the air, that feeling you're carrying a secret no one can grasp. This experience isn't uncommon, but it's rare to find words for it until today. Many feel it, but few dare to name it. The invisible weight of being different can be lonely and confusing. You ask yourself, is it me, or is it the world that isn't ready to understand me? This moment of recognition on the other side of the screen, is the beginning of a transformation. If you feel this restlessness, this rare aura, know that you're facing an invitation to look within and discover who you really are. Carl Gustav Jung, the legendary Swiss psychoanalyst, left us not just theories, but a deep map of the human soul. He spoke about archetypes, universal images that inhabit our collective unconscious, and about the shadow, that hidden part of ourselves few have the courage to face. Jung said that each individual carries within a unique complexity, a personal mystery that invites them to individuation, the sacred process of becoming oneself, complete and whole. Within this theory, we can understand the rare aura as a living archetype, an unusual energy that springs from a soul carrying its own unique glow. It's a sign, a silent call that says, you don't need to fit in. You were born to be seen for who you are, a rare, powerful, and innate presence. This rare archetype isn't a flaw, quite the opposite. It's your most genuine strength. Jung teaches us that what we most reject or fear in ourselves is often the greatest source of power and transformation. You who feel this different, sometimes heavy and challenging aura, are closer to the truth than you imagine. You feel an energy that pulsates deep within, something the world can't immediately grasp, but which resonates with something very ancient, primitive, collective. This aura didn't choose you by chance. It's a mysterious gift, a deep mark of your soul that awakens the invisible and provokes the visible. Being a bearer of this rare aura often means living a silent, almost invisible conflict. On the outside, the world expects you to fit in, to follow invisible patterns and norms. Inside, your soul cries out for genuine expression, for authenticity, for an encounter with a greater meaning. And that's where the tension begins. Jung offers us another essential key, the shadow. It's the unknown or rejected side we all carry, but it's especially activated when someone like you appears. Your aura awakens this shadow in others, not yours but theirs, that repressed part that the ego doesn't want to face. This explains a lot of what you feel around you. Why are there people who seem bothered, distrustful, or even hostile for no clear reason? Because you have the unconscious power to reflect the truth they hide, to break through social masks. But this truth causes fear, and fear often leads to rejection. It's not you who's wrong, nor you who should apologize. The reverse projection happens. What's at play is their unconscious reaction, an internal struggle your being awakens. You are subtly known and unknown at the same time. Social exclusion, difficulty belonging, these feelings stem from that. The conflict is real, and it's deep, but it's also the mark of someone with a special path ahead. Recognizing this allows you to see beyond the surface, to understand that your silence and your attitude carry a weight most people ignore. There's a Jungian concept that perhaps has never been so close to you, the archetypal mirror. We're not talking about the physical mirror, which only reflects the superficial image, but that invisible mirror, the one that reflects the soul. When you are present, even without saying a word, you become a living mirror for others, a reflection of the unconscious parts they don't know exist. Your rare aura not only attracts attention, it imposes an internal reflection on others, an awakening to what they try to ignore. This silent personification is an innate power. Your energy is an invisible key that opens doors within the psyche of those nearby. Often people feel fear, discomfort, attraction, or resistance, and this is not casual. It's this deep energetic interaction that you provoke. You're not just someone hard to understand. You are, in fact, an invisible agent of transformation, a silent catalyst. Your gaze and presence dissolve masks. Your aura activates shadows and lights. And even if the world seems not to recognize this role, you're leaving deep marks that echo far beyond the present moment. You are a reflection that provokes inner changes, even if you never receive a thank you. In each of these first steps, realize that your difference isn't a burden to carry alone. It's a light that can illuminate, and an invitation to true individuation. If you've ever felt like this mirror, this aura, this shadow that stirs everything, know that you're on the path of a unique journey. Want to continue? In the next chapters, we'll unravel these inner mysteries together, transforming loneliness into strength, incomprehension into the language of the soul, and conflict into deep purpose. And remember, if this content has already touched something in you, like the video, comment on your experiences, and subscribe to not miss the next episode of this journey to discover the power of your rare presence in the world. Have you ever felt like you were beside life? Living, but not exactly included. Surrounded by people, noise, connections, and yet in a kind of invisible absence, like a silent guest at a grand party, observing the festivities, but never truly being part of it. This feeling of exclusion isn't just social, it's existential. You can be with friends, family, colleagues, and still feel like you're somewhere else. The bonds are real, but something doesn't fit. There's a frequency difference, as if your inner sound vibrates at a tone others don't hear. It's in this silent pain that the call of the rare soul resides. The non-belonging, which has already hurt you, made you shrink, even made you wish to be normal, is a sacred sign that you carry something not born to fit, born to expand. Carl Jung, when talking about individuation, said that the path of the true self is solitary, because it's unique. The world values copies, repeated patterns, but you were born with an unrepeatable energetic signature. That's why life sometimes seems to push you to the edges, to the margins, when in fact it's preparing you for the center of your own being. This sacred isolation is a mythical territory. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Like the ancient shamans, monks, wanderers, all at some point in their journey were rejected, cast aside, discredited. All needed to cross the journey of solitude before finding the language of the soul. And here's the secret. It's not the world that doesn't accept you. It's your soul that's asking for space. Space to grow without others' voices, without others' molds. Space to listen to yourself deeply. Yes, it hurts. It hurts not to feel part of. But within that pain is concentrated immense power. Because whoever has walked alone has heard their own truth. Whoever has cried in silence has touched the unspeakable. Your isolation is fertile ground for authentic freedom. And perhaps, for the first time, you don't need to fight this feeling. Just sit with it. Let this non-belonging be your initiation. You're only on the edge of what's too small to contain you. You feel more than others perceive. How many times has this truth echoed silently within you? You try to explain, but it seems no one understands. You want to express yourself, but words are too small. You perceive gestures, silences, atmospheres. You read in eyes what others don't say. You feel emotions before they manifest. This, my dear, this isn't hypersensitivity. This is a direct language of the soul. Carl Jung said that the collective unconscious speaks through symbols, images, sensations, and you were made with a sensitive receiver for these signals. You understand the invisible, even without trying. You unconsciously translated emotional realities from an early age. You know when someone is sad, even when they're smiling. You know when something isn't right, even before it happens. You were taught to doubt this, to believe you need logic, explanation, external validation. But in truth, you've always known. You knew without knowing how, and that scared others, because your soul speaks another language. That's why in common, trivial conversations you feel exhausted. It seems you're always adjusting the tone, trying to fit in, to modulate your feelings. As if you live on a different radio, tuned to frequencies few can pick up. Behind this is a precious gift, the gift of deep listening. But not listening with your ears, listening to emotional vibration, to the energy circulating in the space, to intuition that arrives before speech. Carl Jung wrote about the deep self that communicates through symbols and dreams. And you live on this bridge between the visible and the invisible world, between what is said and what is felt. Your difficulty in being verbally understood isn't a mistake. It's a sign of your depth. You don't speak, you vibrate. You don't communicate, you resonate. You don't say, you deliver entire layers of ancestral memory, archetypes, premonitions, and unspoken emotions. And what others don't understand, they feel. That's why they look at you strangely. That's why they try to label you. That's why sometimes they run away. But most importantly, some, the most awakened, the most silent, even without understanding, they approach. Because your language touches parts of them that were dormant. Your soul speaks directly to theirs at a frequency that doesn't need words. If you feel frustrated by not being understood, breathe. You're not here to be understood. You're here to awaken. There's a phenomenon you might know all too well. At first, glances, fascination, silent enchantment. People approach. They want to be near you. They say your energy is different, that your presence calms them, that your gaze is deep. They feel seen. They hear something in you they didn't even know they needed. You attract easily. But then something changes. The connection subtly begins to unravel. Enchantment turns into strangeness. Discomfort arises. Something in them begins to resist. And you feel the distancing begin slow but inevitable. The question comes like a pain. Did I do something wrong? No, you didn't. What you're experiencing is the archetypal cycle between light and shadow. Jung explained that we project parts of ourselves, positive and negative, onto others. When someone encounters your rare aura, the first impulse is admiration. You represent what they haven't yet accessed in themselves. Your strength, your sensitivity, your perception, all of it is magnetic. But the same light that illuminates paths also reveals shadows. At some point, the projection falls, and the other person finds themselves facing their own reflection, mirrored by your presence. And then, what was love turns into resistance, desire turns into fear, admiration turns into silent rejection. Why? Because you don't submit. Your energy carries truth, and truth scares people. Your presence demands authenticity, but the collective ego prefers the mask. You involuntarily show what's behind the facades. This makes people uncomfortable. Needy, fragile, or emotionally disintegrated people approach you seeking refuge, but when they realize you won't fill their void with illusion, they end up turning their backs. You don't deliver fantasy. You never offered control, subservience, or emotional games. You offer presence, and that's more powerful than they can sustain. And here's something important. Don't personalize the rejection. This resistance isn't against you. It's against what you activate in them, against what your energy reveals, against the mirrors you ignite. Jung said, what we don't embrace within ourselves, we project onto others. And you, being so profoundly whole, become the field for these projections. But don't blame yourself. Don't dim your light to fit into others' darkness. You're not here for approval. You're here to be truth. And truth isn't always pleasing. Sometimes it pushes people away, but it also transforms. You continue to make an impact even when they leave. You continue to be a portal even when they don't understand you. You remain silent love even when they can't reciprocate. These 3 steps of the journey are just a part of your inner path. In the pain of not belonging, you found your true tribe, those who feel deeply and live between worlds. In the difficulty of being understood, you discovered that your soul speaks directly to hidden parts. And in the rejection of others, you understood the great key. It's not that you're too much, it's that the world expects the minimum. You weren't born to fit in. You are expansion. In the next chapters, we'll delve into even deeper territory. Living between 2 worlds, having a presence that transforms environments, and finally, finding acceptance in who you are, exactly as you are. If this journey has resonated with you, show your support here. Like this video, comment below if this story is similar to yours, and subscribe because this is a continuous journey and you no longer have to walk it alone. You're remembering, not learning. You're recognizing yourself, and that's the most powerful step of all. See you in the next segment. Silently certain that something much bigger is moving within you. You feel, with absurd intensity, not just what's around you, but what's behind words, between glances, beneath events. You feel the invisible. And at the same time, you need to function in the visible. Go to work, respond to messages, fulfill obligations, attend meetings, have trivial conversations, maintain normalcy. You live between two worlds, the world of the soul and the world of form. And this crossing is exhausting. Carl Jung called this the conflict between the persona, what we show to the world, and the self, our true and complete self, which pulsates in the deep unconscious. This tension, this internal friction that seems never to cease, perhaps you know it well. A part of you wants to be understood, accepted, recognized. It wants to laugh in light conversations, to naturally belong, without the burden of feeling everything, knowing everything. But the other part, older, deeper, screams for truth, demands silence, calls for purpose, longs for the deep dive. You are this living paradox. During the day you smile, you interact, you deliver what others expect, but at night, even surrounded, you feel a longing for something you can't even name, a faceless longing, as if a part of you lives in a space no one else visits. This is the double call. You live with one foot on the ground and the other in an invisible territory. You learn to move between worlds, the world of matter and the world of spirit. You are half star, half roots. This is the energy of the archetypal wanderer, the one who belongs nowhere because they were born to move between all places. The one who walks between realities, translates energies into words, transforms pain into symbol and silence into a portal. You are an energetic translator. Sometimes you feel like you're not completely here. Other times, here seems too small. There are moments when you fulfill the expected role with mastery, and even then, you feel something essential is missing. It's not an existential crisis. It's a dimensional recollection. It's as if your spirit is constantly remembering a greater mission it came to fulfill. Life for you will never be just routine. You were born for more than that. And no place in the world will feel like home until you allow your two worlds to coexist. Don't try to kill one part of yourself to survive in the other. You were made to integrate them. Your normal requires soul. Your routine asks for symbol. Your daily life needs deep meaning, because you are a bridge between the visible and the invisible. And a bridge is never fully understood by those on only one side, but it's essential for the crossing to exist. Think of someone who, even in silence, changes the atmosphere of a place. Someone who walks into a room and suddenly conversations shift. The vibe changes. Time slows down. Sometimes no one understands, but something feels different. Maybe you haven't realized it, but that someone is you. Your presence carries a frequency that propagates even if you don't say a word. Carl Jung described that the unconscious not only dwells within us, it communicates through us. And you, with your rare aura, are a channel for this collective unconscious. You don't need to try hard. Your simple existence, your silence is already a message. People feel it, even if they don't know how to interpret it. Often you've walked into a place and felt weights that aren't yours. You've picked up tensions, pains, pressures. Your intuition flared up for no apparent reason. But you stayed, you breathed, or you just looked. And without knowing it, you held that space. You've changed energies without even realizing it. You've prevented arguments just with the energy of your open heart. You've calmed anxieties just by being present. You've awakened truths in others' eyes without needing to teach. Your soul is a resonant field. We all emit energy, but some people are portals, and portals don't need to explain. They just reveal. Your presence reveals something essential about others, something that was hidden, locked away, dormant. This is your medicine. In a world saturated with noise, your greatest strength lies in what is silent, in what happens beyond logic, in what vibrates between the lines. You came to channel healing, not just with words, but with vibration. And that cannot be taught. Its essence. Your transparency is uncomfortable for those who can't bear to see themselves, but it's profoundly healing for those who are ready. Have you ever noticed how people feel comfortable telling you their secrets, even if you barely know them? This happens because your vibration allows trust, an ancestral trust. You are the silent mirror that shows it's okay not to be okay. You transform, even if no one says so. You heal, even if no one thanks you. And most importantly, your function in the world isn't to be perceived, it's to be true. Keep being who you are, even if no one understands. Because the deepest transformation is always invisible to the eye, but it's never unnoticed by the soul. You've made it this far, and if you have, it's because something within you remembered. Maybe you can't explain it, but you felt it. A nod from the soul, a bridge made of words and silence that led you to a place of ignition. That place is you, whole, unedited, without trying to fit in, without trying to soften your truth. Carl Jung said that what we seek out there is, in fact, within us, but it needs to be rescued. Your essence isn't broken, it's whole. It was just silenced by a world that doesn't know what to do with what's rare. Rarity isn't arrogance, it's destiny. And your destiny isn't to make sense, it's to cause meaning. You are a deep river, and deep rivers are in no hurry. They don't make a fuss, but when they pass, nothing is ever the same again. And now is the time to accept yourself, whole. Your depth isn't a problem, it's a medicine. Your intensity isn't too much, it's precision for those who need it. Your solitude isn't social failure, it's a sanctuary for the spirit. Accept who you are when you're silent, because there you don't hide. Accept who you are when you're alone, because there you don't need to act. Accept the gift of feeling what no one says, because there you are truth. You are not a mistake in search of a fix. You are the answer you've always been waiting for. And if you want, comment below. I am whole, and I don't need to hide anymore. This is your place. This channel is made for souls like yours. Deep, sincere, intuitive, sensitive, and powerful. If this resonated, like this video, share it with someone who's on this same journey. Subscribe, because this is a continuous journey, and you no longer have to walk it alone. Here, you can be rare and be welcomed. Here, your light won't be diminished by anyone. Here, your silence also speaks. And may you leave this video taking with you more than words. Take the memory of who you've always been, and it will have been, finally, a reunion.